Welcome viewers to Historical Journeys. Situated amidst the wild North Atlantic Sea's St Kilda, it is a peculiar and desolate spot. Today, the spiked rocks and slopes are populated by sheep and seabirds, the obstinate animals who won't leave their island home. However, under quite a while back, a local area of everyone he promoted living on these distant. Then, at that point, on one occasion they vanished, abandoning an unpleasant phantom town. After this fruitless stone pilgrims at long last escaped, they abandoned a phantom town encompassed via ocean. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It only takes a second, and you won't miss any of our future videos. Let's get started. Obviously, in the same way as other remote spots, life in St Kilda has never been simple. And keeping in mind that progress go on in the advanced world, individuals of this archipelago adamantly stay caught before. For quite a long time, individuals of St Kilda lived totally detached from the remainder of human advancement. They chased seabirds for food and got destroyed houses out from underneath the PD soil to give cover between the furious sea and rough pinnacles. Be that as it may, today these cottages are vacant, an assortment of strange landmarks from the failed-to-remember past. So what befell the families who once called St Kilda home, and for what reason did they leave their town to the components? The answer reveals a dark truth about a remote area of the British Isles and a way of life now lost in the mists of time, an archipelago of 4 islands more than 100 miles off the west coast of Scotland, St Kilda. Most of all, a remote place in the British Isles. In fact, there are 40 miles of ocean between its wild shores and the nearest populated city to the northeast, and even today the fastest boat crossing takes 2.5 hours. As a result, the archipelago, which is technically part of the outer sea lanes, has always been isolated from other island communities, but that hasn't stopped hardy souls from settling on rocky shores for years. The first experts believe that the largest island may have arrived 7,000 years ago, and there are fragments of ancient pottery left behind. Incredibly, for the following 2,000 years, there were consistently individuals living in St Kilda. Afterward, in the 9th and 10th hundreds of years, the Vikings arrived at the islands on one of their amazing ocean journeys. However, a significant part of the historical backdrop of life on St Kilda is covered in secret, and there were no put-down accounts until the 13th 100 years. Segregated from the remainder of Scotland, individuals of St Kilda have fostered their own particular manner of life to adapt to the unforgiving states of their home island. However, 3 churches were constructed in the 17th century to serve the approximately 180 residents of St Kilda for a considerable amount of time. Why are the hurdle cabins now deserted and empty? Taking a gander at the records, it rapidly turns out to be evident that the occupants of these far-off islands were participated in a consistent battle for endurance. Is this what he needs to lose? One of the issues is St Kilda's absence of good food. Confronted with the pungent waters of the North Pacific, islanders are not as reliant upon fishing as other beachfront regions. Furthermore, PD soil makes it hard to develop vegetables or natural product. Yet without experience, this was normal among St Kilda individuals, and the 1764 registration shows that individuals were acclimated with eating unique food varieties on the island. Assuming records are to be accepted, every individual ate 18 seabirds and 36 eggs each day. Today, the island is abounding with birds that have lived here for a long time. The ladies of St Kilda tended the creatures in the land, while the men chased puffins, guillemots, and sticks on the bluffs. In this unforgiving climate, Ulster's low dependence on little seabirds turned into an essential asset. It's not simply food. Go across the island. Simultaneously, the manifestations and the Macleans of the neighborhood lairds and heraises were exchanged trade for lease. Not just the inhabitants of St Kilda have numerous associations with their chiefs somewhere else. The islands are frequently blocked off for quite a long time of the year. At the point when tempests rage, nearby inhabitants who can't swim are compelled to overcome the sea waves to brush their creatures on the little islands. At the point when the infection was annihilated from the island, just 4 grown-ups made do. All through St Kilda's set of experiences, the islanders fabricated homes known as dark houses, uncommonly intended to assist them with enduring the unforgiving climate. The structure is kept warm by a thick grass roof on top, and the foundations are dug deep into the ground to provide additional insulation. However, while people in St Kilda are cuddling their animals for warmth, rural residents are beginning to appreciate modern life. The primary voyage transport showed up in Shrouded in 1877, taking travelers to encounter the islanders' past and play golf. Simultaneously, the Leeds MC thought about the day-to-day environments in St Kilda unsatisfactory by the new norms. Presumably empowered by Victorian supporters, this class chose to assemble new houses to supplant the dark places of the country. They were built in, so they were not protected from the wind like the old black houses. Instead of thatched grass roofs, they had tin roofs, and the heat went inside. In meager metal sheets, the new building was quickly destroyed, with doors and windows shattered, according to the BBC. Individuals of the island disregarded these changes and got back to the glow and well-being of their bleak homes. In any case, after speedy fixes, the specialists demanded getting back to the new structure. Even though there were a lot of issues, the islanders eventually got used to living in the house. All in all, life in St Kilda has forever been troublesome. Yet as time has gone on, it has become progressively troublesome. In 1912, the islands experienced food shortages, rendering residents weak and predisposing them to influenza, which quickly spread throughout the population. Tired of the battle to get by, a few occupants emigrated to Australia. However, after some time, St Kilda's populace obliterated Windell, yet on one occasion, it was out of nowhere deserted, passing on the structures to spoil. The start of the end came during the 1920s, when conditions on the island turned out to be progressively challenging for the leftover occupants to persevere. Bradley was given the task of acting as a nurse and taking care of St Kilda residents around this time. So she started the overwhelming assignment of persuading local people to leave their island homes. Tom Steele, the author of the 1965 book, The Life and Death of St Kilda, talked about how Bradley first approached the islanders with his plans. She reportedly informed them that the community had ended and offered them housing and employment on the mainland. Ms. Steele said he was especially stressed over the destiny of the youngsters staying on the island. Then, at that point, in 1929, came an especially chilly winter that further reinforced Bradley's case for further developing life on the mainland. On May 10, 1930, the 20th gathering of St Kilda marked a request requesting that the public authority move them. As per the Scottish Press and Diary, the archives express that enduring another winter is unimaginable. It additionally explained precisely the exact thing the islanders anticipated from their administration. Then, a double tragedy struck the struggling St Kilda community as the government debated the island's future. The mother and child passed away on May 26, just 16 days after the petition to leave the island was signed. The people of St Kilda waited impatiently to see what would happen to them when they were told how dangerous their life on the islands was. 13 men, 13 youngsters, and 10 ladies boarded HMS Rabbit Ringer to express farewell to their island home. At the point when the Kildare Indians arrived at the landmass, they settled mostly along the west bank of Scotland, like the elegant line on the Isle of Skye. However, the new life that was promised to some people did not quite live up to their expectations. For instance, former Norman resident John Gillis recalled his father's reaction to their new residence in an interview with the British newspaper, The Guardian, 2012. In a letter to the Scottish office, Norman's dad is said to have composed, "I heard from Sister Barclay that we ought to be placed in better homes. However, that is more regrettable than full jail." In the meantime, different islands struggle with acclimating to the progress. They used to live far away from their associates. Yet later, the evacuees lived a long way from the islands. What's more, for individuals like Gilly, who was 5 years of age when she boarded Bunny Beauty, it opened up a totally different universe of conceivable outcomes. He thought my life was excellent, much better than in St Kilda. At the age of 86, a few islanders returned to St Kilda to visit their old homes. Today, the bungalows are deserted and congested with vegetation, large numbers of which are unforgiving and open to the wild Hebridean sky. Presently, in the 21st hundred years, a clouded side anticipates the couple of guests who come to St Kilda, where all that from difficult situations to far-off mountain tops is abandoned and neglected. St Kilda may appear to be a ghost town, but it is actually not. In the meantime aground, the account of St Kilda proceeds. Occasions like these are critical to such an extent that their accounts are not neglected. Thanks for watching. If you want to stay updated with our latest videos, subscribing is the way to go. Just click that red button below and become a part of our channel family.